everyone, and welcome back to the Colour Cave where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem, and today we are back in Rita Berman's Meine Reise de Asien. German speakers, please correct me on my pronunciation. And basically, so this is my journey through Asia, and we talked a little bit last time round in our last colouring video about what we wanted to do for projects on the run up to Johanna Basford's new book coming out, and overwhelmingly, y'all were really into the idea of finishing the train station picture that I was doodling away in here. So that is what we're going to do. I want to thank you all very, very much for taking the time to give me your input. I really appreciate the fact that a lot of you went over to the community tab and voted on the poll, and also left comments underneath the last video as well. When I'm asking for an opinion, it's because I do value it, and you help shape decisions in the cave, and that is kind of important. So we're back in here with our Polychromos pencils, Jem's favourite. What I would like to get done today at the very least is this sky area up here, so we're going to do a little bit of a fade, a little bit of a blended gradient kind of thing. You all know how much I love a gradient. I don't think we'll have time for much more than this, because although this isn't a huge area, it is going to take a little bit of time. I am also filming with a new setup today. This will hopefully be the permanent setup, and this allows me to jump between filming and live streaming without messing about with like tons of cables and having to move screens about and stuff. So I just want to show you really quickly. So that's what we've got. I'm not saying you're going to have to look at my face in every video, because clearly we're not about that here. But this setup is basically going to do me for both. So we're going to see how the video quality turns out. I'm going to see how it goes with me editing the videos and that kind of thing. But I'm hoping that this is going to lead to fairly regular live streams. But I will talk a little bit more about that later. The other thing that I'm going to start doing is there will be a community post. So there will be a post on the community tab every Friday. So for you guys, that's going to be tomorrow, so you can keep your eyes peeled for that as well. Sometimes it's just going to be information, sometimes it's going to be silly things, and sometimes it'll just be a wee update of something I've maybe been working on during the week. And I really want to get back to, having a busy little community, so you can keep your eyes peeled for that tomorrow. Right, so I've got my swatch book here, and I want to show you the colours I'm going to use so that you can pick something out similar if you don't have the same pencils but still want to get a similar effect. And this is really straightforward for me. I very rarely use black, but this is one of those instances where it is going to be featured. Colours that I'm going to use, I'm going to start with the Prussian blue, it's a lovely colour. I really like it. And I'm going to take that into the dark indigo, and these two colours seem to blend well together in this set, and I'm going to take that into black, which is down here in this bottom corner. I'll pop those up on the screen for you just now while I pick them out here. So Prussian blue, indigo, and the black. Okay, me and my special indigo pencil. You see it's got no paint on the top of it. It's been lacquered, like it's shiny, it's been glossed over. They just forgot to paint the end. It makes it kind of special, and I'll be sad when it goes. Okay, so the noises that I am combating today include an electrician and a combine harvester, and there's also a cacophony of crows outside as well. So if you hear any of that, I'm really sorry, but I'll do my best to edit it out. Prussian blue is our lightest colour, and you would think that that's what I'm going to start with, but you'd be wrong. Ha! See? Keeping you all on your toes. I'm actually going to start with the black today. All I want to do here is take this black pencil and run it along the line of the top of the archway here. It really helps if you're zoomed in, doesn't it? You would think after all the years I've been doing this, I would know and remember to do stuff like that. 100% professionalism here in the cave, guys. So bring that all the way along. So I am still mapping out the colours, and I talk about this a lot. I like to see roughly what things are going to look like before I commit to putting layers and layers of pencil down, because sometimes I like to change my mind. I very rarely plan things out in colouring books, and it's the complete opposite to the way I am in everyday life, so I feel kind of like a bit cavalier about things. But what that does mean is I am prone to make changes at the last minute. So to have a sort of visual to have a visual representation of what's happening before I actually do it is rather a good thing. So yeah, we want the darkest part up the top there, which is fine. Now, even if we go full on with this black pencil, these black dots are still going to stand out. Don't worry about that at all, because there is a degree of transparency to pencils, obviously. And then after that, we're going to decide how far down to bring our indigo. There's going to be this transition about here with the black, and I'm going to bring this a bit further down on one side. I'd quite like to sort of accentuate the curve of this of this archway here. But not only that, maybe a suggestion, the sunset, you know, somewhere over down here, and it would cast out that, you know, that the light in that shape. And that's just a fun little thing to add. If you're not confident about that and you think it's going to look wonky, just go straight across. You can just do your blending straight across. That's not gonna, it's not gonna impact the finished piece in any way. It's just a preference, and say something for a bit more fun. That might be a little tricky bit in there to get the blend looking, you know, like it fits in with everything else, but we will work on that and that will not be a problem. So area like here, that's going to be all indigo. Maybe put a wee bit of black pencil in at the top, but that's one of those ones, leave those sections till the end and see how everything else looks and, you know, make it fit in. Bring this down round to about here maybe. And then the Prussian blue obviously is going to go in the remainder of the space. And this is a really nice blue, like I really like it. So I'm just going to scribble that in. I really am just scribbling it in. I might even bring the indigo all the way down into here. So the obvious place for me is to start up here because it's a wee area and there's going to be a little bit of a blend in there. I'm just going to start in this tiny little corner. So I'm going to build up the layers, and I always start next to the line work because that's the easiest place to start, and that's the part where the heaviest amount of pencil is going to be. And as I'm heading downwards, I'm just releasing the pressure on the pencil away to nothing, and that lets me pick up my indigo pencil and do the same thing but from the bottom up. And then we can meet them in the middle because obviously the next part further down is actually the train. And that looks fine to me. So again, I can move on and I can take this next section to the top of the curve here. So you can do a wee tiny bit at a time. Again, this is really helpful if you're maybe not that confident about blending and you're not sure you can get it even and, you know, the right number of layers. This is a great way to do it. I just, do you know, that way I could probably do it all in one go, like do all the black first and then do all the indigo, but I prefer doing it this way. And I picked up the wrong pencil there, that could have been a disaster. So again, this is my indigo pencil, so heaviest pencil in at the line, which is the top of the train, and then as I'm coming up towards the black, I'm just going to let that pressure up and we'll blend that all in together. Kind of joined those two sections up so you can see what I'm doing there, and it doesn't look that harsh. It does look as if it might be a night sky. The night sky is not actually black. It's several shades of blue and whatever else it's reflecting back. So it's nice to have a combination of these colours here. Although in saying that, where we live, the sky very much does look black at night because there's very little light pollution. Just feeling like that black needed a little tickle, a little lick there. Okay, brilliant. Let's move on. So in this part here, I'm going to put my indigo down first. So I'm going to put a nice even layer of the indigo down. And then I'm going to put my black down at the top, just over that bump. And then I'll fade that out a little bit over this side. Again, I literally just want to deal with this in bite-sized chunks, because the thing that I find as well, and I would love to know if any of you are the same, like by nature I'm quite an impatient person. And what I find is I have this urgency in the sense to push on all the time. And when I'm doing colouring pages, I try to combat that and just try and relax and chill out, basically. But what I find is that if I do rush it and push on, it ends up I don't have enough layers of pencil down and it can end up really uneven. I just get a better finish if I take my time and do it in these wee sections. So if any of you are maybe the same way, you know, the same inclination as me, that might be something worth trying. I don't even think I'm going to put any black in there. Just looking at what I've got here, I'm just going to make this all indigo. So I'll get that nice and even in there like that. Quite a few of you that do colour in Rita's books and have a bit of experience with it said that the Black Widow pencils are quite good in here. So maybe next time when we do another page in here at some point, we'll maybe try out the Black Widows and see what it's like. I did mention last time, I always choose the Polychromos, that's my go-to pencil, but these pencils behave well on most papers. There's very few papers that I've tried where I've struggled to, you know, get done what I need to get done. And I have a very strong preference for these pencils, a very strong preference. Someone had sent me an email not that long ago asking for advice about pencils, and one of the pencils that I think is a bit of an unsung hero if you are not in the budget range for an artist grade pencil, which is what these Polychromos are. The student grade Faber-Castell pencils, the Gold Faber or Gold Faber pencils, they are amazing pencils. They're a bit softer than the Polychromos and they're lovely pencils. And they still have a decent colour range as well. They come in a full set of 48, so you've still got plenty of colours to choose from. And again, maybe as someone that's newer to adult colouring, a good place to start. It can be a bit overwhelming having 120 pencils when you're just starting out. I might also be biased because my first set of proper pencils was a 48 set of Prismacolors. I'm quite happy so far about the black versus the indigo situation, so I'm not going to be doing anything different now in terms of my technique until we get into using some of this Prussian blue. So I'm just going to carry on here. I'm just going to tilt this slightly, and I'm going to carry on matching up all the way along. So this part is now my reference part to get this entire section along here nice and uniform, and it's just a case of taking my time a little bit. So I don't really have anything exciting to talk about. I don't think I can take much more excitement in this house, to be honest. Like I don't want any more excitement. My living room's in pieces. I've had workmen here and yeah, blah 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 blah. I'm one step closer to finishing my bedroom. My dressing table arrived the other day, but it needs stained and things, and we haven't been. There's a massive, massive retail park. For those of you that are familiar with the Edinburgh area, there is a retail park called Fort Kinnaird, and it is gigantic. Like I've never seen a place that size in my life, and there's absolutely everything that you can need. But that's our that's a really good place for us to go. There's a big DIY store there, so we will take a trip to the DIY store at some point because there's loads of other things we need to get as well. But that for this month, that's our budget's gone for the house. We've spent everything we're going to spend for a couple of weeks, and we've been very careful about partitioning money and just trying to push on and get things done, but also making sure we're not reduced to beans on toast. We are going to have to do a bit of fundraising in the cave. The cave is very, very poor just now. Obviously because I had to buy furniture, and I was sorely needing a new chair anyway. I've had a really sore back for a couple of months. And it's just because my chair wasn't really cut out for what we're doing here now. So we might have to do a bit of fundraising in a couple of live streams or whatever if we can manage that. Because I still want to provide you all with high quality content, but my back health has to come first. And it's just exactly the same with the house. Like obviously we want nice things and all the rest of it, but you have to be sensible. Like one of the things that's kind of annoying me that I know that we're not going to get to anytime soon is the garage door. This is the first house that we've ever been in that's had a proper garage with like a proper up and over garage door. And unfortunately the door is knackered. Like it's almost starting to split in half. So you can see where people have been holding the handle and pushing it down to close it. And because it's actually started to snap. Like the metal is like it was bending in half. So we do need a new garage door. However, the one that we have is secure. It works. And it hasn't fallen in pieces yet, so it's just not top of the priority list when we don't have a living room with any furniture in it. So, like priorities. So I have to say though, I'm getting a little bit frustrated because I don't feel that we're making much progress in the living room. Progress is very, very slow, and it's just trying to get tradesmen. It's an absolute nightmare. And all of this also, we need to fit a new wood burning stove. So there's still stuff to do, and our sofa could take up to 11 weeks to arrive. So this is week 3. So we're kind of in a rush, but we're kind of not. But it's just because we don't have any other reception rooms, and I'm used to having 3 reception rooms, in the old house. It's quite frustrating because what's happening at night is Mr. Jem and I, the very rare time that he's in, we end up sitting in separate rooms because there's nowhere to sit. So yeah, there's that. So down here, around this outside edge, I want to not only transition, from the black into the indigo, but I want to transition from the indigo into this Prussian blue. Just keeping the layers very light, like my pressure's super light here. I'm going to pop a wee bit of indigo in here, just in the edge here, and in this little nook or cranny. And exactly the same as before, I'm just going to feather that out. So the closer I get to where I've mapped out my Prussian blue, the lighter my pressure's getting. I just want to make this a reasonably smooth transition because this is sort of a junction between 3 colours here, although it really shouldn't be. It should only be 2, but it's just the way that we've decided to put... Do you like that wee, the royal wee? just where I have decided to put the colour in. So we just want to work this round, so keeping a really light pressure. And I'll fade that out to almost nothing. So we'll deal with that section separately. Like, we don't need to worry about it, but I just wanted to start that transition there. And I'll move this over now. There was a comment under one of it wasn't the last Rita Berman video, but it was a fairly recent colouring video. And someone thanked me for filming so close up to what we're colouring, because I like to zoom right in so y'all can see what I'm doing. And someone actually thanked me for doing that because they said they could see better and understand what I was, what I was actually doing with my pencil. And I just, for some reason, that really tickled me. I was like, okay, you're welcome. It wasn't one of you cavers, like it wasn't one of the regulars. It was a username I didn't recognise, and they weren't subscribed to the channel. But that really tickled me in a really nice way. Like, that was lovely. I was like, oh, you're welcome. Like, unintentionally made someone's day. Those are the best ones. So I really like that. And we'll continue to film this close when I'm colouring. I don't know why that tickles me so much. Like, it's making me chuckle now. It's so funny. It's like, yeah, you're welcome. Okay, I want to finish off this black to indigo transition, and then we can focus on the Prussian blue a little bit more. I'm a bit out of kilter this morning because it's really early, and I don't normally film this early. It's just after 9. It's usually closer to maybe 11 o'clock. I usually do my proper job first. And then film. I do a couple of hours of my proper job in the morning and then do my filming. Sometimes I film in the afternoon, but because the electrician's here, I'd asked him if he would not put his radio on for the first hour. So that I could film this with like minimal noise. Obviously, he's just going to go about his business and do what he needs to do. I've told him not to be quiet with that because if it's bumps and like knocking and things, I can edit that out. But I just asked him if he'd keep his radio off, and he's like, "Yeah, of course." So it's like, right, film first, and then he can, don't suck the joy out the man's life. So that's why we're doing this way round. I've also already walked my dogs as well. There's a couple of wee bits here that I'm just a wee bitty too light for my liking. So I'm going to start working my indigo in round here now. So the key to doing this is patience and very light pressure. Very, very light pressure. And just build up those layers. And this paper seems to be taking the layers very well indeed. Trying to avoid these wee stars. If for some reason I muddy them up, I can always go back with a Posca pen or a white gel pen. Usually a Posca pen for me. Not really a fan of the gel pens. I don't get on very well with them. I never have done. Do you know that? I never have done. I did it at one point. I had a full set of jelly rolls, which they're really expensive to get here in the UK, and they were sitting there doing nothing, and I ended up getting rid of them. Put them in the stash shop. Okay, so this is starting to take shape now. I'm happy with my my indigo to black transition now, so I can kind of ignore that. And I want to bring this down. I might be changing my mind about this corner, but I'm definitely going to bring the indigo down to here. And again, fade it out just like I did over this other side. See, patience. Patience, patience. So, kind of like I did with the black there, I'm doing it with the indigo here. I'm pressing a little bit harder, just along that outline of the archway there, just to give us a really nice defined line. And then I can fade this out as I go round. This is why I like to map things out. When I look at this now, if I just zoom this out a little bit, the sky's not, if I put Prussian blue in this entire area, the sky's not going to look dark enough for my liking, because I really want it to be nighttime, because I want to have all these little lamps on, and make them sort of quite bright. I'm going to take the indigo in further, and this is exactly why it's helpful to map out your colours. So I'm going to bring this down further, probably, yeah, to about there, and just have this little semicircle here. That's much better. I'm much happier with that. So again, I'll just build this up, graduate that out. Okay, so now when I'm doing this bit, I'm just going to use the side of my pencil for a little while, just so that I can build up the number of layers in my new part that I've just added in to sort of match up with what's going on. And it's just so I can cover a larger area, fairly quickly. And I'll get a little bit more specific with it in a minute. You'll notice as well that when I'm using this technique to help myself cover a larger area, that my hand's really far back in my pencil. That helps with pressure control, but also it just helps you get a bit more of an even layer of colour, because you are more parallel with the page. you know, the nib of your pencil's more parallel with the page. Right, I'm much happier with that, much happier. That's kind of what I was thinking. So now I'm going to grab, finally, my Prussian blue, and I'm going to start here. And again, the same technique, so along the outline of the train. So there's my line work line there, and I'm just going to take that all the way along, pressing quite hard, and then just start working my way out, because we're going to have to do this very gradually, this section. Telling you, not for the impatient, what I say ironically, because I am not a patient person. But we've established, and I think, honestly, some of it's to do with age. There are some things I have more patience for than others. I have endless patience for animals. Endless. And interestingly, something that my husband doesn't possess, and my husband is a very patient person. Like, he is a super patient person. But when it comes to animals, he definitely has a time scale, a tolerance time scale, whereas I do not. And I seem to have the tolerance and the patience for pencils. And it's weird because I don't have the same tolerance for things like oil painting. Can't be bothered with it. Takes too long for stuff to dry. No thanks. I don't mind the wet and wet, like, you know, Bob Ross style, obviously, because you're bish bash bosh, you're done. Technically, you're supposed to be able to paint a picture in half an hour. I've never managed a Bob Ross painting in half an hour, but you get the gist. And it's funny how I really don't have patience for most things. Definitely don't have patience for people, especially strangers. Have a hard time with that a lot of the time. That's something I'm really struggling with here, that we've moved. The standard of driving in this particular area is absolutely shocking. Like, it's shocking, and everyone is so goddamn rude. Where we lived before, there were some really awkward country roads and things, you know, like, and you really just had to sort of, there was places where you just had to inch along and hope that you didn't meet someone. But if you did, you know, you would figure it out and it would be okay. The roads are pretty narrow here in a lot of places, and you stop and let someone by and no one waves, no one says thank you. It's so rude. The driving is ridiculous, and not only that, which is really irritating me, and it's happened twice now. There is a retail park that we go to, not the great big one that I was talking about a minute ago. There's a retail park that we've been going to. I like to go quite early in the morning. I know I'm a morning person, but obviously it's quieter then as well, which suits me because I don't like people. And if I can go first thing in the morning somewhere, I will do it. Like, that is my preference. I drive a pickup truck, and the back of a pickup truck, for those of you that are unfamiliar, the tailgate or the trunk or the boot lid is in two parts. There's like a top part that lifts up the way, like a tailgate on a hot hatch car, you know, on a hatchback car. And then there's the flap that folds down the way. When you're parked, you need space at the back for that back part of the tailgate to fold down flat so that you can put things in the back of the truck. And I always park as far away from everyone else as I can, because our car parks are not designed for trucks, and my truck does not fit in a normal car parking space. I'm usually like hanging out the back, or my nose is hanging out the front. So to combat that, I like to park far away so that if I'm sort of hanging into another space, I'm not going to inconvenience anybody that's parked either in front or behind me. And twice people have come and they have parked right up the ass of my car. Like, so the back of my truck's like here, and they've tried to squeeze into the space behind me, and they've left a gap of like 3 fingers widths so that they're not hanging out the back of their space, and it means I've been unable to fold my tailgate down. Twice that's happened, and you know, there's like 6 million other spaces in this car park because it's not busy, because it's first thing in the morning. And it absolutely boils my blood. Like, people are just ridiculous. One of these days, I am just going to lose my temper, and I'm just going to drop the tailgate and let it hit the bonnet of their car. Like, I'm 100% that I'm going to lose my one day, and that's going to happen. Mr. Jem said I should start taking post-it notes in the truck with me, leaving passive-aggressive messages on their windscreens. It's like, that's taking it a bit far. I was like, oh, I just hate people. Like, they're stupid. People are stupid. Go away. But yeah, the driving thing seems to be particularly bad here. I have to say, though, the rural roads are a huge improvement on where we were before. See, where we were before, it was kind of like bandit country. It's a bit more civilised here, which is nice. So yeah, it's good. Just you got to watch what you're doing. We've got this funky little junction in the town as well, which listen to me like I'm on a full scale rant here now. It's just really awkward. If you're coming from the direction, like if you where we live into this town, you come to this junction and it's a stop sign. So you have to. I'm gonna have to draw you a diagram here, guys. Like honestly. So now, bearing in mind in the UK we drive on the left-hand side of the road, so this is your stop sign here, and up here there are a set of traffic lights, and this is like a four-way junction, and this is a pretty busy junction. The road comes down and round like this, and it comes past us here obviously, but there's this like wonky little turning in here. So we have a stop sign here, and this is a one-way system round here, but this is a curve in the road because this is obviously a stop sign, so the right of way is actually round this curve, and when you're sitting here you have to wait and see whether the people coming this way are going to go this way, or this way. And it can be quite confusing. I've noticed that a lot of the locals will indicate even if they're going straight on, and it's just to let us know that they're not going round the bend. And there are people that indicate to tell us that they're going round the bend even though that's the right of way and you don't need to indicate. It's a total mess. Anyway, so there's that to contend with. So you team that with people that, you know, that aren't very courteous or sensible drivers. It's caused a few complications, not for us directly, but that time's coming. Like I know that time's coming. And I'm like, well, these roads are just screwed up. Absolutely screwed up. But I'm sure we'll get used to it soon enough. Okay, we're starting to look fairly good now. This a wee bit patchy. I think I could do with another layer of pencil here. So I'm just going to tidy up. We are at saturation point over here. Like there's no more pencil going down there. Done quite well avoiding these stars. Okay, well, it's pretty good. I kind of want to bring this black round a little bit now. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I'm just going to line this with the black. That it makes me want to, yeah. Went over the line there. Oh, no. Made a mess of that. Okay. I feel like we're lacking in here now as well. This needs to be, oh, that was far too hard. I feel like this section's really light now as well. I'm not doing very well today here, my guys. Okay, much better. So now if I zoom out there, you can see that what a lovely effect that has. Like, I love that. I think it makes this part of the picture look really cozy. It's like out there's like the deep dark night, but we're in this cozy train station and there's lovely carriages with lamps and it's going to be nice and warm in here. Like, that's the kind of feeling it gives me, and that's kind of what I was hoping for, so that's pretty good. Just to finish things off today, because I'm aware that this video is kind of rattling on a wee bit. These sections under the train, there's two here. Technically they should be this lighter colour, but I think that's going to look kind of weird, so I'm going to go indigo because I think black would stand out too much. We might even do a mixture of the indigo and the black. Might be a good shout. So we'll get this filled in, and then I'm going to pick some colours for the paving slabs so that in the next video we can just scoot right in and get going with it. So we are going to go back to our Thursday colouring videos and then art videos on a Sunday. That's the pattern we're going for. So we will have a weekly instalment now of what's going on. I'm just going to put a little layer of black over that just to kind of deepen it slightly, and then go back to my indigo pencil here. Yeah, I think that is probably a fairly good shout actually. Do a little bit of that. Yeah, I would say that's suitably neutral to not be too obvious. Okay, for this paved area here, I want to use some greys, so we'll consult the swatch book. So just to try and explain what my kind of feeling is here, we talked a wee bit about light sources last time for this lamp post, and I feel that there's definitely going to be a light source coming from inside the station, which is us as the viewer. That's where I was about to say where we're stationed. Where we're positioned. So I think again that probably the stonework and the paving is going to be a little bit lighter here and maybe a little bit darker outside. It is obscured mostly by a gargantuan suitcase, so we don't have to worry about it too much. But I'm thinking more, this is the kind of point, I'm kind of jumping about here, I kind of wish there was a set of pencils like the French greys and the polychromos and the Prismacolors, because I think French greys would be great for this. So what I would like to do is pick out a couple of the warm greys. So I'm thinking warm grey 3 Here we go, zoom back in a little bit for a minute. The warm grey 3 would probably be a really good idea. Yeah, I'd like to mix it with this nougat colour to try and make it a bit more of a warmer grey. It's warm already, but we want to make it warmer. So I would say we're going to go with warm grey 3 and probably warm grey 5 and nougat. That would be good choices. I'm going to pick those pencils out now and I'm going to sit them beside the book just so I don't forget for next time. There we go, that's it. That's me ready to rock for next time. I do sell Polychromos pencils in the stash shop. I sell open stock, I do not sell sets. And the stock's starting to run a wee bit low. I will be replenishing that. This is an item that I am going to have in the stash shop permanently. So it's going to be a wee top up the stock for this, but there are still plenty of colours available. So if you're looking to build up a collection of Polychromos, or you're looking just for a couple of replacement pencils if they're getting short, you can pick them up at the stash shop. The website is here. The live link to the website is down in the description. I do provide them at a very reasonable price. Okay, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching and coming and hanging out with me. You know, I always appreciate it and I really enjoy doing these videos. It's really nice to be able to chill out at 9:30 on a Thursday morning. So thanks very much, and I hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you back in the cave on Sunday for another video. So have a great day, everyone, and bye bye for now.